Find humor and joy in the small things. Because when enough small things add up, it becomes a big thing. And if you are finding some kind of pleasure in all the little things that you turn into a big thing, it'll turn around for you. Hello, Terrence Popp here with another episode of Live from the Lair. And I got some requests here. Hang on, I gotta put on my old man glasses here. This email is about a paragraph long. It's a new trooper. He's basically out of basic and AIT, and he's been in his job at Fort Benning for, by the time I got this email, 7 months. It might be 10 months by now. And he's having some difficulties in regards to his job and job performance. Okay. Now, he didn't really go into a lot of detail. I also got another one from a Cav Scout in regards to land navigation. You know, you're a fucking scout. You should probably be good at land navigation. I'm just saying. And another guy, actually it's like 4 or 5 guys who, you know, are suffering in regards to job performance, motivation, blah, blah, blah. All right. I'm infantry qualified, ranger qualified. I was in the ranger regiment. I was a paratrooper and a Green Beret. I did all of the crazy wazoo shit all the way up to the highest levels. All right, now if you think for one goddamn second that I did everything correctly and there were no mistakes and everything was cherry and golden, you're out of your damn minds. I'm going to be honest with you. When I first came in for the first, year and a half, I was a soup sandwich with an extra scoop of gravy on it. I was tore up from the floor up and every layer in between. All right, now what I have behind me is, a infantry squad doing an objective. The symbols might be old because I took out of, my second Ranger handbook, which I had for the last phase in Ranger school. I wrote down some notes in here. Plus, I used this while I was in the regiment for a while. And, I always wrote interesting notes inside the margins of the Ranger handbook, which is infinitely more entertaining than the actual boring writing in between, which, if you're going to be an airborne ranger and deal in any kind of infantry capacity, you should probably have one of these in your cargo pocket, along with a pocket ref. I did a video on that particular subject years ago when I was in the old Lair in New York. When people hear the term infantry, they think you're some mindless drone that just walks in lines and does what he's fucking told, and there's no thought or effort involved. Nothing could be further from the truth. As an infantry guy, especially in today's army, you really need to be on the ball. There's a lot of moving parts, especially if you're in a large area that has other units operating, nearby. You need to work on the coordinations and shit, because there's tanks, there's armor personnel carriers, artillery, mortars, gun helicopters, other units moving around, and if you are not on the ball and you make a mistake, that's when you get friendly fire, which is not friendly. And I did a whole video on the rules of a gunfight. That one was in 2015. You guys will find that hilarious. Links are in the description. All right, so you show up, you're a new dude in the infantry unit just out of basic and AIT. The first thing that you need to do is shut your mouth. Don't run your mouth about how much you drink, fight, how good you are, whatever. Just shut up and listen to what's going on around you. Listen, you will learn a majority of the shit you can and cannot do by listening to the people around you, which I happen to be really good at. And I have over 600 videos of lessons I've learned either by doing the mistakes myself or observing other people as their lives unfolded and they made stupid shit. All right, so number one category that's going to get you either accepted or hated is PT. You have to pass the PT test, and don't do it at the 60% standard. I used to hate having soldiers that would perform to the lowest possible level to pass. It absolutely aggravated the shit out of me. You can pass the PT test with a 62% in your events. So that means when you show up to the battlefield, you are a D+ soldier. You will shoot 6 out of the 10 enemy that are trying to kill you. Bullshit. Do the best you can. I can't tell you how many times I'd be running a PT test and I knew a soldier would show up and I knew what he could do and he would show up and do the minimum. I would hold him after the PT test and I would make him take it again. After a few times of doing that, they got the message. When you show up, it's 110% or Pop's going to f*** you up. It is what it is. All right, after PT, hand in hand, is being able to do the road marches. 12 miles, 3 hours or less, 45 pounds dry, which is really 55 pounds with water. All right? You have to be able to do that, especially in a war zone, every day if needed. And in between doing the walks, as the infantry, you walk your 12 miles, you stop, you dig a foxhole for 2 soldiers, armpit deep to the tallest man and build overhead cover. And you will stay in there until you're ordered to move, which could be the very next day or even that night, who knows. So there's more involved in this than just standard PT. I have show up here, all right? When you report, you need to show up, physically and mentally. You need to be in the game, all right? Listen, there's a lot of guys I knew in my career who absolutely hated the infantry, and they cursed the day they were born, and they hated their recruiter for suggesting it, and they were just miserable. All right, and if they live in the misery mind, it has a way of multiplying to the point where it can break you. All right, you need to take yourself out of that mindset. Yes, you can hate it. Okay, you fucked up. You volunteered. Ride it out, and then do something else. Number 1. Number 2, find humor and joy in the small things. Because when enough small things add up, it becomes a big thing. And if you are finding some kind of pleasure in all the little things that you turn into a big thing, it'll turn around for you. Like, I was a big joker. I did practical jokes. I enjoyed, the sheet cake. I hate it now, but when I was younger, I would go crazy for the Chow Hall sheet cakes and chili mac, which I still like to this day. But, that's the only way you're going to get through it. All right. Now, if you're one of those guys that just walking around hating it, you're always going to be a fucking drain on morale. You're going to be a drain on resources. You're going to hold everyone fucking back. And you don't want to be that guy. Be ready. All right. What I mean by be ready is you have all of your equipment. They tell you what you're supposed to have. You go to the barracks. You put all of the shit on the list in your duffel bag and your rucksack, or if you're just going out with your rucksack, they give you a packing list. You put all the shit in there that you want, and then you can put extra, whatever, licky chewies, flashlights, iPods, whatever the hell. You can put that in there. So I can't tell you how many times, okay, right, this really happened to me. This is one of the mistakes I made.
Zuck the Cuck drinks water like a duck, but he also drinks your data. So tell Silicon Valley to shove that data up their 4th point of contact by downloading the Brave browser. It's free, blocks online advertising, and protects your privacy from evil tech companies. You only see ads if you want to, and give cryptocurrency for your attention. Don't let Zuck turn you into the cuck. Support Sandman and download Brave by clicking on the link down below.
I deployed to the MFO in 1987, and I fucked up and did not take my protective mask. My roommate kicked it under my bunk. I missed it, You know, it's my fault for not double checking. I'm not blaming him, even though he's an a-hole. But we worked it out. And I got Article 15 for that. And I got, I think, 45 days of extra duty. And they didn't take any rank or money. And they just worked. I had to build a gazebo in the desert. It f***ing sucked. But yeah, so nobody's f***ing perfect. You're going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. All right, if you have a good NCO, he's going to realize that you're young and stupid, your thinking meat hasn't matured, you made a bad decision, or you overlooked something. Is he going to bust your nuts? Probably a little, but it is what it is. All right. Now, again, be present is part of showing up, being in it mentally. All right, I've already gone through this, so I'm not going to go into super detail, but, you know, be present. Okay, now this is important. I underlined it. Never quit. Listen, I don't give a shit what they tell you to do. All right, I mean, walk 25 miles, whatever it is. The only time that you should quit is when you basically pass out. Your body will tell you when you had enough. Flip the switch in your brain pan, and you will pass out. Have I passed out? Several times. I just showed up in the 9th ID. We're doing a 12-mile road march. I got to mile 11. I wasn't drinking properly. It was hot. Boom. Pop goes down. I wake up in the aid station with 2 IVs and my squad leader bitching at me for being a dumbass and not drinking enough water. I was young and stupid. I effed up and I paid the price. All right? It is what it is. And the other time, I was trying to get to scuba school. And according, to get in, you had to do a certain amount of crossovers. A crossover is when you swim underwater for the 50 meters of the pool. We had to do 4 of those. Now, for some reason, I have some kind of off, switch off switch. So right around 3 to 3.5, I would just pass out, and I'd be underwater. So 3 times they retrieved me out of the pool with the hook. They looked at me and they said, "Do you wish to continue?" What they're asking is, "Are you going to quit?" And I said, "No." They gave me 3 or 5 minutes to recover. I did it again. I passed out. I did that 3 times. After the 3rd time, they called down the OIC, some captain, and he basically said, "You're out. You're going to keep going until you fucking die. We can't have that." So I was out. They wrote it up. I got sent back to my unit, and when they read the write-up, they really couldn't f*** me up at all. I just physically, at that particular time, it just wasn't meant to be. And I was willing to go to the point where I was really drowning to make the goal. If you have the attitude never quit, all right, you can do anything in the Army. You can do anything in the world. You don't understand, if you have a never quit attitude, how powerful of an individual you are. Because a large majority of the sheeple who surround you, they have a very, very easy quit button that they flip as soon as they get to their 30, 45% effort where it becomes uncomfortable. "Oh, it's too hard." Boom, and they just shut down. You don't want that. Now, you're in the infantry. I'm not going to dummy this down for you. I'm going to tell you the truth. Your job is to close with and destroy enemy personnel, capture enemy, areas, and anyone in there when you attack, they either quit, run away, die, or get wounded. And the same could happen to you, but you shouldn't quit. All right, so get proficient with your weapons. I get this all the time, like, "Oh, I'm not really good with the pistol, blah, blah, blah." Listen, I'm going to tell you right now. Get an airsoft pistol, one that works off of the green gas. They have them that weigh exactly as much as regular pistols. They have all of the live slide actions and everything like that. Get the holster, practice the draw and the firing till it's second nature. The reloads, you can do the same thing with an airsoft AR-15, reloading the magazines. It's all muscle memory. And you can get that stuff, like the rifle and the pistol, for like $200. And you have training aids that will last for years. I used to train my own soldiers on airsoft and CQB and pistol qual and so forth. And I believe I've never had one of my soldiers not qualify with their weapon. Tactics, procedures, and SOPs. Now, in the beginning of this, I told you to shut your mouth. Because if you shut your mouth and you listen with your ears and actually hear what they're saying, you will learn tactics. You will learn the procedures that take place within your unit. And you will learn your unit's SOPs, which stands for Standard Operating Procedures. All right, every single unit in the United States Army has a different SOP on how they do shit. And you can get those from your squad leader, and you can study them, but chances are you will learn them by simply listening to how things are done. All right, now when we look at the picture up here, this is, basically a graph of a simple M1, A1 raid. I think that's what they used to call it. But it's a simple raid ambush, and it's where you have your assault line, and you have your support, and then you have your security on both sides and behind you, but I didn't put it on the map. All right, it looks really clean on paper. But in reality, it is anything but clean. I'm going to tell you a few stories what happens when you're one of these guys moving around in the dark and the rain and with a bunch of other shit going on, because it never goes smoothly. Never. It never goes to plan. You always have to, pull something out of your ass at the last minute or make an adjustment to fix it. Like, for instance, we were on the assault line. All right. We are at Fort Benning, Georgia. The support, the 2 machine guns, they start going crazy. This is a live fire. I'm watching tracers rake the objective. They're tearing up bunkers and so forth. It went on for like maybe 2 or 3 minutes. We were shooting, and we get the hand and arm signal to assault. All right. Just as they give the hand and arm signal, it starts to rain so hard I could not see 10 feet in front of me. All right. I am not kidding. It's like the sky opened up, and it just was. And I remember I'm like, I can't see. The guy to my left and right, falling down in the mud. By the time I got to the objective, I had so much mud on my boots, it looked like I had dirt for clown feet. I mean, it was insane. We're moving at like melted butter speed because everyone is loaded down with water and mud, and it was horrible. We get to the other end, and it's just like, Murphy, as soon as we get done, it rained for like another 10 minutes, and then it just stopped. And we saw the utter pandemonium. And you're supposed to go through here nice and straight. We had guys running this way, that way, guys falling in the mud. One guy didn't even go because he couldn't see. And, we had to do that. I think we had to do it 3 times before we got it right. All right, so listen, I totally understand your ass pain in regards to the job. I've been there. All right, now there's another one I did here. This is after range school a couple years. All right, yeah. River crossing. Now, I was a scout swimmer, so I'm a swimming motherfucker. And they're like, hey, Pop, you got to swim across the river and tie the rope. I'm like, okay. So I strip down, put my shit in my rucksack, tie the rope around my waist, wade into this damn river, swim across, and I tie the rope to the tree. Now, I know how to tie knots. I know in my mind I did not F this up. But I come back across to get my stuff. 2 more guys go across. The third guy is going across, and all of a sudden, he's floating down the river. The rope came untied from the tree. I look like a supreme a-hole, and the other guy's just like, floating down, like, bye-bye. He went down like 500 meters before he made it to the side. Luckily, he waterproofed his rucksack so it could float, so he wasn't in any danger of drowning. But I got the ever-loving shit smoked out of me for about 3 days for that. I did a road march. I was doing PT all the time, down-ups, roll around in the mud, push-ups, sit-ups for 3 days. And then I did another 5 days of remedial knot tying. Though I know, and I can't prove it, but one of the two guys who went across the river, he was up to get his sergeant stripes, and I was up to get my sergeant stripes, and he untied the knot. I suspect, so I would look like an a-hole. He got promoted before me, and they promoted me 90 days later. Professional jealousy is gonna happen, especially if you are proficient at your job. If you know what you're doing, and the people around you don't know what they're doing, but they're acting like they know what they're doing, they're going to hate your guts. I write about that phenomena in my book, and The Warrior's Way and the Soldier's Soul. If you want to pick it up, that's cool. All right, now here's another one. Basic training, infantry training. All right, we just got done with basic training. We're halfway through the infantry training block at Fort Benning. All right, so in basic training, the drill sergeants are turbo assholes to you. When you get into infantry school, they're just assholes after that. They turn it down from like 10 to like 6 or 7. All right, we're doing one of these assaults, except we're going up a hill. There's some objectives up there. The support really can't get good fire on there. Of course, we're just using blanks because we're in training. There's no live fire. And again, Fort Benning starts to rain like God himself was pissing on us from above. And again, I can't see, blah, blah, blah. I know I'm going up the hill, which is significantly steep, and it's raining so hard I can't see anything beyond 10 feet. It's like I'm in the shower, and I'm scraping and I'm climbing and I'm slipping and mud's accumulating and it's raining and my weapon's all f***ed up. And then I hear this guy, and he just slides by me. And into the distance where I lose sight of him. And my buddy over there, we're talking as we're going up, and I'm like, hey, does this suck or what? And he's like, yeah, it totally sucks. And I hear the drill sergeant at the top of the hill. He's like, you better shut the f*** up, or it's really gonna suck for you. So we scrape and crawl to the top of the hill. We all got no-goes because we didn't come as a cohesive unit. I think 50% of us made it to the top, and the support guys got hammered for not moving to a better position. And we had to do it again, I think, 5 more times that day before we got to go and we could, take our muddy, wet, smelly asses to the hooch area and build a fire and chill out for the rest of the night and eat chow. Now listen, gentlemen, the Army, at least when I did it, was a hard and tough place. Okay, you cannot have a candy-ass mind if you're going to do combat jobs. All right, and that goes for the scouts, the infantry, armor, whatever. Okay, you cannot have a candy-ass attitude because it's going to chew you up. You're going to suffer unnecessarily. So you need to toughen up this first. Once you get this toughened up and you have the no-quit attitude, everything else will fall in line. It'll be like magic.